What if I told you some of the hardest working project managers I've ever met were actually making their situation worse? Not because they were lazy, not because they lacked experience, and not because they didn't care. They were working or they were making it worse because they were solving the wrong problem. Have you ever spent weeks trying to improve communication only to discover communication was never the actual issue? Have you ever added more reports, more meetings, more documentation only to end up exactly where you started? I know, I have. See, effort and progress are not the same thing. Sometimes the battle you're fighting isn't the battle that's actually being fought. Until you learn to identify the real battlefield, you can work harder, move faster, and still lose. A few years ago, I was leading this initiative that had everything you would think that could make it succeed: solid plan, real meetings, status report, action items tracked to the fullest. From a project management standpoint, of course, I was doing everything right. And yet, every week felt like the same week, same conversation, same delays, same frustrations. So I did what most project managers do when progress stalled. I added more updates, more documentation, more follow-ups, and actually more visibility. And for a while, it felt like we were making some progress. Then one conversation with a key stakeholder stopped me and informed me of this valuable lesson. Stakeholders weren't confused. The team knew the work. The problem nobody was talking about was actually competing priorities. People weren't confused. They were conflicted. That moment, that moment alone, I saw that. I stopped trying to fix the communication problem that didn't exist and started fixing another problem. So you can be highly skilled as a project manager and still fail if you're diagnosing the wrong problem. And most of the time, the real problem doesn't reveal itself until pressure enters the room. Principle number one: pressure reveals the real battlefield. One of the biggest mistakes project managers make is evaluating alignment when conditions are easy. Pressure doesn't create behavior. Pressure exposes it. It shows you what people are willing to protect and what they're willing to sacrifice and what really truly matters to them. Why is this important? Many project managers make decisions based on what people are doing during calm period. Experienced leaders pay attention to what people are doing during difficult periods. That's, if we're going to keep it all the way real, that's where the truth lives. Experiment with these actionable tips. Watch the behavior change when stakes increase. See, people will often tell you their priorities long before they openly admit them. Next one: when conflict appears, don't, and I repeat, don't immediately try to eliminate it. First ask, what priority is the pressure exposing? Here's my professional advice, family. Pressure is one of the greatest diagnostic tools available to a leader. It reveals in minutes what months of meetings never will. Because look, pressure reveals priorities, but recognizing the battlefield is just half of the challenge. Principle number two: solving the wrong problem is still, I repeat, it's still failure. Activity is not the same as diagnosis. The visible problem is often just evidence of something deeper. What appears to be poor communication actually may be competing priorities. What appears to be resistance, well, this may be fear disguised. What appears to be a resource problem actually may be a leadership problem. Why is this important? Organizations waste enormous energies treating symptoms while root cause remain untouched. Always use this analogy, family. When you have a cold and the symptoms are you're sneezing and you're coughing, but that's not the actual root of what is actually going on. The root is actually your immune system has broken down. And so this is why you're getting the symptoms. So we must fix the root. Okay, back to the original broadcast. The cause isn't just time, it's actually momentum, trust, and credibility. Experiment with these actionable tips. Before proposing a solution, I want you to ask this question: what evidence do I have that this is an actual problem? Not the symptoms, but the actual root cause. Next one: when a problem keeps returning, stop adding solutions and start asking better questions. Reoccurring problems often signal an incorrect diagnosis. Here's my professional advice, family. The best, no. The exceptional project managers aren't the ones who solve the problems fast. They're the ones who identified the right problems first. See, even when you identify the truth, another challenge appears: communicating it when it's very uncomfortable. Principle number three: loyalty to truth over loyalty to comfort. Or I could drop the mic here because, see, nobody intends for the truth to get replaced by convenience, but it happens all the time. One assumption goes unchallenged, one risk goes unspoken, one concern, well, you know how that goes. It gets ignored. And over time, reality creates a bill that eventually, well, it comes due. Why is this important? Projects rarely fail due to lack of intelligence. They fail because people stop telling the truth, not maliciously, but gradually. Experiment with these actual tips. Create space for disagreement. Ask, what are we missing? Or what would someone who disagrees with us say? Next one. Separate relationships from facts. You can respect the stakeholder. You can respect the project team member. However, we still challenge the assumption professionally. Those are not mutually exclusive. Here's my professional advice, family. Your responsibility as a project leader is not to protect people from reality. It's to help them see it clearly enough to make better decisions. Because listen, when you put these three lessons together, a pattern actually starts to emerge. Pressure reveals the battlefield. Diagnosis helps us identify the problem. Truth gives us the courage to address it. Missing in those steps and easy, spend months, a lot of nights fighting battles that never needed to be fought. But when you can see what pressure reveals, identify what's actually creating the friction and stay committed to the truth, even when it becomes uncomfortable. Because something changes. You stop reacting and you start leading. And that's ultimately why smart project managers sometimes struggle, not because they lack effort, not because they lack intelligence, but because they're fighting a battle that was never the real battle to begin with. Here's a reflection, family, and actually the truth. What's the battle you're fighting right now? Not the battle you can see, but I'm talking about not the battle you've been talking about, the battle that's underneath it. Okay, you don't like that. What if the communication issue is really a priority issue? What if the priority issue is really accountability? What if the accountability issue is really a leadership issue? What if the pressure you're experiencing right now is exposing information you have been overlooking? I'll be honest with you, family. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs doesn't come from working harder. Sometimes it's come from seeing more clearly. The leaders who can create the biggest impact aren't always the smartest people in the room. They're often the people who can see what others miss or take time to really evaluate. Before you can win the battle, you have to identify that battlefield. That's something worth thinking about. Family, I appreciate you for listening to today's episode. If this episode helped you think differently about leadership, project management, or the challenges you're facing right now, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Because remember, pressure reveals priorities. Solving the wrong problem is still failure, and the truth has to matter more than the comfort. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep moving forward, because sets and reps beat talent when talent doesn't do the reps. And if you're new to the episode, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, that just simply means Ed. Until next time.